What if you could set up a Shopify sale that sold out in just a few hours, increasing profitability through the roof without any additional ad spend? Howdy, everybody. Dominic here, and today we're going to talk about a specific case study on how a very uniquely positioned sale brought in a ton of profit in just a few days for one of my partner accounts. Now, if you've never heard of me before, my name is Dominic Mayu. I run a company called DM Corporations where we help scale Shopify-based e-commerce brands to millions of dollars of profitable revenue through something that we call revenue optimization. But without further ado, let's get right into how we did this sale. Here's how to plan a sale that sells out in hours with zero ad spend and how we did it with one of our partner accounts. So once again, we're going to go through G-Tech Apparel. This was about a couple of months ago that we did this. It was very uniquely positioned. So to give it a little bit of a backstory here, these guys had invested into quite a bit of inventory on the apparel line that just didn't really sell. So their top seller is their heated pouch. They sell a bunch of those. They're very, very profitable. It's a great brand. It's a great product. Always gets great reviews. And they had the idea of investing into apparel, right? So hoodies that had heated concepts in them, vests that had heated things in them. And to their surprise, they just didn't sell nearly as well as the pouches. So they obviously made both men and women's hoodies and vests. Their men's sold okay. They were sort of kind of getting rid of the inventory, but their women's apparel just sat completely stagnant, never sold anything. It was maybe a couple a month, but they had, hundreds of every size basically just sitting there. So we had, a little brainstorm meeting on, okay, we have, 1,000 of these units or however many of these units, it wasn't quite 1,000, but that are just sitting there. How can we liquidize this to get some cash in the door so we can, go full fledged on ad spend, especially for Q4. This was around Q3 that we launched this. So we had an idea and we called that our Fat Finger Flash Sale. Okay. Basically what we did is we positioned the women's apparel as mislabeled. Okay. Now, thing to note, the men's and women's apparel were identical. They were literally the exact same, except the women's was just one size smaller. So basically the men's was a large, the women's was the exact same thing. But the women's would be the XL. The women's XL would be the men's L. And then the only difference is the tags themselves. So there was one tag, behind the collar here that just said women. So that was the only thing that made it women. So we weren't deceiving anybody or anything like that. And then basically what we did is position this as a mislabeled sale. We mislabeled all of our apparel and marked it at 50% off. And then we basically added unisex sizing on this product page. So we did, like I said, men's L/women's XL. And yeah, that was basically the premise of the sale. So we marked it at 50%, which was actually still profitable. But really the goal was to just liquidize this apparel because it was just taking up space in the warehouse. It was costing us money and it obviously wasn't bringing anything in. So here's what it looked like after the first couple of days. You can see here, this mislabeled sale. They were number 2 bestseller and then our number 4 bestseller. And these just took off. Okay. So this is a total of about 135. These are all units that are in, the triple figures as far as price range goes. So these did very, 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 very well. And the coolest part is we did not increase ad spend whatsoever to market these. In fact, the way we did this was actually pretty subliminal and pretty insignificant, but it obviously brought in significant results. So we're going to walk through how we did that today with our planning and positioning, pre-marketing and promotion, the actual execution, and then the post-sale kind of analysis. So without further ado, just kind of get right into it. So first things first, I want to position this video as a case study for G-Tech, but also, how can you position something like this on your website if maybe you don't have 500 hoodies, sitting in the back of your warehouse that aren't selling that you can mark as mislabeled. So this is kind of the process of the entire sale that we went through. So first things first is you have to find the right sale, right? Are you going to do a site-wide sale? Is it going to be product specific? Is it going to be variant specific, et cetera? Now, obviously the idea for our sale was, how do we get a product that's not selling, that we have a bunch of inventory for, to sell, right? So if you have that situation, let's say you have, it could even be a color, right? It could be, you sell phone cases in 6 colors and the orange case just does not sell. Okay. So that could be like a very variant specific. Product specific would be more like what G-Tech did with, the apparel, or site wide if you want to just go off site wide flash sale. So dial that in. Again, if you have that inventory that's not selling, I love kind of marking that down because it's a great way to get in cash flow to market the products that do sell. And then how do you dial in the markdown, right? So the higher the markdown, the faster it will sell, right? So we went with 50% off, which is a pretty heavy discount. Now, I will say high discount should really only be used for either products that are going like out of season, right? If you sell a big winter jacket and it's May, right, then you can use that big markdown, but you really don't want to use that big markdown in like December, for example, or again, products that just aren't selling. Now, you don't want to devalue your product while it's in season. So for example, for G-Tech on the heated pouches, we would never, ever run a 50% discount to those heated pouches because that just devalues that product significantly. So offer, a high discount if you can, but don't devalue your core product that sells while it's in season. So there's only, there's a few examples where you should be using super high discounts. And that again is like out of season products that just aren't selling well at all, etc. There's probably some more ideas as well, more systems as well, but dial that in. Again, the higher the discount, typically the faster it'll sell. Experiment, play with 30, 40, 50. I would say you'll really start to get results once you hit that 40 plus range. Kind of that like 40 to 70% off is kind of that threshold where I think you'll really see big results. Yeah, ideally you're still profitable, but the idea of this is to just get rid of that inventory. That was the idea for G-Tech is, okay, can we just get some cash in the door? Let's get rid of this inventory. It's not selling, right? So how can we leverage that? So that's that pre-planning and positioning. And then the pre-marketing and promotion. So this is really how we did this without any increase in ad spend or actually running any ads to this sale specifically. Every ad that we had remained the exact same. We didn't run any ads to the apparel. They were all to the heated pouch. Really, this was a very heavy email and social media campaign. So coming up to the sale, we posted about a week before on social media and then every day up to the sale, basically just saying different angles of like, stay tuned, something is coming, right? We didn't actually announce what the sale was going to be or that it was even a sale. It was really just, something is coming, pay attention, stay tuned, etc. So we did that about a week before and then posted about 7 times, on the actual wall and then these stories. Now, our social following isn't massive. But it's big enough, right? It's big enough. And then same with email. But we didn't send emails every day saying stay tuned. I think we did one about a week before and then maybe one like 2 days before. Yeah, it wasn't that heavy. We might have only done one actually, now that I think about it. So you just kind of want to build some hype around it, really around the socials if you can, and then emails a little bit too. So, and then you can do, same thing here, like use customer testimonials, any influencer partnerships, you can reach out to them and let them know that this is coming. They can kind of do their own pre-hype, things like that. So step 3 is the execution, right? It's how do we actually want to push this sale? So for G-Tech, I want to walk through how we did it, and then I'm going to walk through how you can do it as well. So for G-Tech, again, this was a social and email push. So most of the sales that we got from this was emails. And basically, we just hammered our email list. We took any people who purchased a pouch in the last year, sent them a couple of emails. That list converted really well. We sent to our recently engaged list, and then we just sent to our entire list, I think once or twice as well. So those emails, would bring in significant figures, 5+ figures per email, especially towards the beginning. So yeah, we just did that. And this sale is actually kind of evergreen until we sold out. So we ended up running this for a while. And yeah, that's kind of the beauty of that is, we could send one of these emails every other week or something, and they would always really perform well. And then same thing, we do the social media push about every day for, the first week, we push that. And then every couple of weeks, again, we just kind of remind people that this exists. And then another huge piece that actually helped a ton is the announcement bar. So we actually, we have a sliding announcement bar up here. And one of the slides was saying, take up to 50% off on our apparel. Shop now. It was a clickable CTA. They'd click there. It'd take them to the apparel page and they would order. That actually converted really, 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 really well. And that just leveraged our existing traffic again. And then same with this sale tab that has about a 10% click rate and it sells or converts really, really well. So yeah, but I mean, as far as that's really how we position this. And then we added, right, I mean, it's kind of ugly, but this works, believe it or not. So we just added this big block on the page. Obviously, we mark it at like 50% off up here. This is the men's small, women's medium example. But yeah, so that's what we did there. Now, how you want to push this kind of depends, right? So this worked for us, but you may want to get, a little bit more into it, right? So you can add timers and urgency. This is something that we do on every big sale we run. So here's an example from St. Patrick's Day. Ignore the timer. I took the screenshot 4 days after the timer expired, obviously. So it's all like wanky and all over the place. Usually it does not look like this. It's very clean, time, this is 4 days, 16 hours, 8 minutes, 44 seconds, and they're all in one line, not all wanky. But I do find that these timers convert so well. Now, the thing with these timers is you don't really ever want this to be longer than, I would say, like 5 days. If it's longer than 5 days, it's just not going to increase urgency enough. And you'll always find that the last 24 hours converts like crazy, right? You'll get a 300% spike in revenue once this reaches, 24 hours or less. So that's why you don't really want this over 5 days. And again, this is going to be more site-wide. I would not add this, giant timer unless it was like a site-wide sale. But the announcement bar, like we did for GTech, is a great way to do that. Just product pages, sale collections, marking it off on the collection pages themselves, and then emails as well. I mean, emails are a great way to push sales. And then something I always do as well is after this timer expires, I do an email exclusive extension. Right. So let's say this timer expires for 24 hours. We'll email our entire list, just one email. We don't email them consistently over 24 hours. But basically just highlighting like, hey, this is an email only extension. Use a different code. So it could be like, Patty instead of Clover to take 20% off, and you can kind of gauge the performance. Usually those actually perform pretty well because they're moderately exclusive. So yeah, I hope I was kind of all over the place right there, but I hope that kind of made sense. Again, it just kind of depends on what kind of sale you're going to be using. But yeah, for ours, like this performed incredibly well, and we did not go crazy with the timer or anything. It was quite simply an announcement bar, this little thing on the product page, and emails. Okay, and then post-sale analysis, right? This is super simple. Obviously, you just want to gauge the metrics, right? What kind of bump did you see in the conversion rate? Did it make sense? Is it profitable, right? Because if you're running a 20% off discount and let's say 60% of users use the actual code, it's shocking how many people don't use the code, by the way, but 60% actually use the code, right? You have to tie that into your profit loss. Did the bump in conversions and bump in orders actually, make up for that 20% off discount? Look at your average order rates, your traffic sources, just look at everything, right? What's converting the best so you can, in the next test, iterate. And again, it kind of depends on your test. This is more like a flash sale for a few days, so that's super easy to analyze. This, we didn't care as much. Obviously, like we just wanted to get through these units. Now, obviously, this did us really well. This actually improved our conversion rates while it was live because this page converted at like 9% or something crazy. Yeah, you just kind of want to analyze so you can get some insights and improve the next test. But yeah, I hope this kind of made sense, and I hope this helped. If you are an e-commerce brand that's doing at least $10,000 a month and you're struggling with growth and getting your website profitable, there's going to be a link below where you can schedule a call with me to actually analyze your website and see if there's any potential in us working together. I'm actually working on putting together a lot of different packages to apply to a lot of different e-commerce store owners in different steps of their journey. So it's definitely worth getting on a call and seeing if we can do anything together. Totally up to you. But yeah, I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day, and I hope this helped. Thanks.